You stand at the edge of a moonlit desert. The air hums with heat, yet the night feels alive. The wind cuts through the dunes, whispering against the cracked stones of forgotten tombs. Somewhere beneath your feet lies a sealed doorway, one that hasn't been opened for thousands of years. A doorway meant to stay shut. For centuries, explorers have followed those whispers. They've pried open sarcophagi, brushed away the sand, and unlocked chambers untouched since the days of the pharaohs. But with every discovery, one truth keeps surfacing. The ancient Egyptians were far more complex, spiritual, and mysterious than we ever imagined. Tonight we're descending beneath the sand to explore 10 unique Egyptian discoveries that reveal the hidden heart of a civilization obsessed with eternity. Stay until the end, because the final discovery might just change what you think you know about life, death, and everything in between. 10. Bab el-Ghassus, the tomb of the priests. Our journey begins not with kings or queens, but with priests, the unseen hands behind the gods. In 1891, workers near Deir el-Bahari stumbled upon a shaft leading deep underground. What they found inside would shake Egyptology. Bab el-Ghassus, the gate of the priests. It held over 100 coffins stacked in perfect order, each belonging to a priest or priestess of Amun. Unlike royal tombs filled with gold, this one was rich in ritual. Every coffin was intricately painted, every mummy wrapped with care, every inscription a spell. The priests had buried themselves not in glory, but in faith, surrounded by charms, scrolls, and texts meant to guide their souls through eternity. It's a haunting glimpse into how Egypt's spiritual elite viewed the afterlife, not as servants of kings, but as ambassadors of the gods themselves. But if the priests buried themselves with sacred devotion, who did they serve in life? To find that answer, we turn to someone who worked directly under the gods, the man who healed their chosen rulers. 9. The tomb of the royal doctor. Not far from the fertile banks of the Nile, a tomb was uncovered that seemed different from all others. Inside, the carvings weren't of warriors or priests, but of healing hands, a physician who treated Egypt's most powerful pharaohs. The walls showed detailed drawings of surgical instruments, herbal mixtures, and what appear to be anatomical diagrams. It's believed this man was both scientist and sorcerer, a healer who understood the body through both medicine and magic. In his burial chamber, archaeologists found jars filled with resin, oils, and dried herbs, a doctor's toolkit for eternity. This discovery reveals how Egyptians saw no boundary between science and the divine. To heal was sacred. Every incision, every salve, every prayer was a ritual act. And as we leave the doctor's tomb behind, we descend toward a discovery where healing gave way to something even stranger. A royal tomb that was meant to be found. Empty. 8. The lost royal tomb of Thutmose the Bessex. Buried beneath layers of flood debris near Luxor lay one of Egypt's greatest enigmas, the long-lost tomb of King Thutmose II. When archaeologists entered its main chamber, they were stunned. Blue stars adorned the ceiling like a painted night sky. The walls shimmered with scenes from the Amduat, the sacred text that guided kings through the afterlife. And yet, the tomb was empty. No mummy, no sarcophagus, nothing but ritual objects and the faint scent of incense. Had the king been moved to protect him from grave robbers, or was this an intentional spiritual act? A tomb designed not to house the body, but to immortalize the soul. The missing mummy turns this tomb into a paradox, a monument to absence. As we leave Thutmose's echoing chamber, we move from royal mystery to family devotion, where legacy meant something deeper than treasure. 7. The 3,800-year-old family, tomb of gold and legacy. Deep in the sands near Luxor, archaeologists uncovered a burial chamber packed with brilliance, necklaces of turquoise gold bangles, polished stones, and 11 mummies resting side by side. This wasn't a royal tomb, but a family crypt, 3,800 years old. Unlike the pharaoh's chambers, this tomb wasn't about divine kingship. It was about love, memory, and connection. Each body was carefully wrapped and adorned with amulets meant to protect them in the afterlife. Their shared chamber was filled with ritual items, offerings of food, perfume, and written spells that bound them together for eternity. It's a rare glimpse into how ordinary elites faced death, not with fear, but with unity. And while this family sought protection in gold and prayer, the next discovery shows how Egyptians also honored death's practical side by cleaning up after it. 6. Covey 65, the embalming cache of the kings. In the western Valley of the Kings lies a pit known as Covey 65, but unlike its neighbors, it held no mummies, only fragments of ritual chaos, broken pottery, linen soaked in resin, ropes, animal bones, even the tools of embalmers themselves. This wasn't a tomb. It was a funerary workshop dump, a place where the leftover remnants of royal burials were discarded after rituals ended. Yet even in their discards, the Egyptians followed ceremony. The items were buried deliberately, sealed away as if their sacred residue could not touch the living world again. Think of it as the backstage of eternity, the evidence of craftsmanship behind Egypt's greatest funerary art. It tells us that even death had its cleanup crew and its rituals. But if KV-65 was the workshop of the dead, our next discovery takes us inside a masterpiece, a chamber carved for someone who walked the line between mortal and divine. 5. The Doctor's Painted Chamber. Hidden nearly 23 feet below ground, archaeologists found a breathtaking limestone tomb. Its vaulted ceiling was painted with vivid scenes, falcons soaring over rivers, stars arcing over the dead. Though the owner's name is lost, one thing was clear. This tomb belonged to someone important. The chamber was perfectly symmetrical, its walls carved with hieroglyphs that echoed royal funerary language. Some believe it may have belonged to a high priest or physician favored by the pharaoh. Every fresco tells a journey, from life to judgment, to the eternal fields of the afterlife. Each brushstroke feels intentional, like a map to transcendence. And as we move from this artistry of death, we approach a discovery that redefines what protection truly meant. A tomb so well hidden, it deceived even the gods. 4. The Royal Tomb. Behind a false door, at Saqqara, archaeologists uncovered something bizarre. A door that led nowhere, carved from stone, detailed with symbols, and perfectly sealed. But behind it was a hidden royal tomb. The false door was one of Egypt's most sacred symbols, believed to be a portal through which spirits passed between worlds. Here, it doubled as the ultimate security system, concealing the pharaoh's resting place from robbers and the unworthy. When the team realized the deception, they understood the genius of its design. It wasn't just architecture, it was faith in stone. The Egyptians built tombs that could trick even eternity itself. And as we step beyond that false door, we find a place where many doors, 30 of them, were waiting to be discovered. 3. The 30th Tomb, hillside of Aswan. In Aswan, archaeologists unearthed something unprecedented. Over 30 tombs, all carved into a single hillside overlooking the Nile. It was a city of the dead, each chamber stacked and spiraled above another, stretching deep into the rock. Some tombs held children, others priests or families, all surrounded by pottery. amulets, and inscriptions. Together they formed a miniature civilization, a necropolis built to preserve not individuals, but generations. It was as if each family sought a piece of eternity carved into the same sacred hill. This find paints a picture of Egypt's quieter devotion, where eternity wasn't reserved for kings, but promised to anyone who could earn it. And yet, while most were buried as they lived, one group of mummies was buried to speak. 2. The golden tongues and gilded nails of the dead. In a tomb in Middle Egypt, archaeologists uncovered 13 mummies unlike any others. Their mouths shimmered. Each one had a tongue made of gold. Some even had gold-plated nails. Why? Because in Egyptian belief, to speak in the afterlife was to exist. Gold, the flesh of the gods, was eternal, incorruptible. By replacing their tongues, the dead were given the power to speak before Osiris himself. The gilded nails may have been symbolic, representing divine transformation, or an attempt to make the body literally untouchable by decay. It's eerie, poetic, and profoundly human. The desire to keep one's voice alive, even after death. And that desire reaches its ultimate expression in our final discovery, the tomb that echoes with silence, power, and memory. 1. The tomb that echoed a king. In 2025, Egypt made its most astonishing find in decades, the rediscovered tomb of Thutmose II, long thought lost forever. Deep beneath the sands near Luxor, archaeologists broke through the sealed doorway and entered a royal chamber untouched since antiquity. The ceiling was painted with constellations, the walls alive with scenes from the Amduat, the Book of the Hidden Chamber. Jars engraved with the king's name lined the floor, yet his body was gone. No coffin, no mummy, no trace. Was it stolen, reburied, or was this absence intentional, a symbolic act to merge the pharaoh's spirit directly with the gods? In that silence, you can almost feel the echo of divinity. It's as if the tomb itself became the king's immortal body, a structure meant not to house him, but to become him. It's the perfect ending to Egypt's eternal riddle. How do you conquer death? Perhaps by becoming the memory that never fades. The echo of eternity. These 10 discoveries remind us that Egypt's greatness wasn't just in stone, but in spirit. Every tomb, every amulet, every secret door reveals a civilization that refused to die. One that turned faith, science, and imagination into immortality. Which of these discoveries fascinated you the most? The priest's hidden cache, the golden tongues of the dead, or the tomb that held no body but still carried a king's presence? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Civilization Deep Dives for more journeys into history's strangest corners. Because the deeper you dive, the stranger it gets.